This is the Daily Freakout with me, Bobby Freakout. I don't know, Gavin, Bobby Freakout, whatever. I still don't feel comfortable taking that whole stage name type thing and using it on a regular basis. Let me move this mic a little bit so that it looks a bit more professional. One of the most unprofessional shows around. But as I've said multiple times before, the wonder and joy of the internet and the technology we have these days is that you can be as unprofessional as you want and still be doing what you want to do, which is putting putting a light in a spot. Anyway, good morning, welcome to the show. I'm going to tell you about a dream I had. Now, I've said this before, I don't dream very often, and as evidenced by this dream this evening, or that I've woken up from, I don't dream positively, and it really frustrates me. It frustrates me yet again that I had a dream that I woke up from being annoyed and frustrated. In this dream, I was riding my bike, and it was loaded with some stuff, but it didn't look like, or didn't feel like I was touring a major distance or anything. And I was on a wonderful little path next to a river, and a friend of mine was there. This friend is currently deceased. She moved on a couple of years ago now. And so I'm dreaming about this friend, and that's nice, and we were talking and stuff like that. And I went away to do something. I can't remember exactly what. I just went for a walk or something. And when I came back, this friend had taken my bike. Now, this isn't the kind of friend who constantly steals. This isn't one of those people. You know how you hear about people who are like, I looked after my friend and then they stole from me. This is the kind of friend who will use your stuff or do things because, unfortunately, her mental state was that she just didn't think of either the disrespect or the consequence or anything like that. And there was at least one time where she did something like that, and it did genuinely frustrate me and annoy me and to a degree anger me. But I knew that in her head, it wasn't there was no malicious intent. And so, given the lack of severity with the situation, it wasn't something that was that important, so it didn't really matter. And I knew she didn't mean it, blah, blah, blah. So I got over it pretty quick. But obviously in my head, maybe, I'm still thinking that way. Now, the crazy thing is, I went to this house, and there was an old couple, but it was like a combination house and bike store, and my bike was there, and I think maybe, actually now that I think about it, in my head, I think they were trying to sell the bike, which makes me think that in my head, she had sold the bike to this people, and they were going to try and sell it. And I've come in all angry, like I was fuming, like I could feel in the dream that I had extra strength because I was so angry and so just And I went in, I got my bike, and I put a few things, like I put the bags back on it and stuff like that. And then there was one of the podcasts that I listened to on a semi-regular basis, Kill Tony, was happening. And so I wanted to go there to the place. And I'm walking along, and this is where it turned into a house as opposed to a bike store. I'm walking along there was a banister and carpet and everything, and then there was a spiral staircase, but the spiral staircase was too small for me. I couldn't get through it. So I ended up climbing on the outside, hand over hand, climbing up this spiral staircase. And I think it got too small and I couldn't get through to where the podcast was being was having their show, and I could hear it in the distance, when like something's in a different room and you could hear it. And then for some reason we were outside, and it was a beautiful little backyard. Something was happening in the backyard, but I can't remember what it was now off the top of my head. But we were in the backyard, and there was beautiful trees, and I think there was a small river type situation. There wasn't many fencing and stuff. And I needed to pee. So I went over to this brick wall, and I was going to start peeing, or I did start peeing, I think. And here's the bit that's well, it's not that interesting. But the bit that that I found amusing as I woke up was that at the moment of peeing, the feeling of peeing was so real that I woke up because I knew I was dreaming. I was like, I'm dreaming, I'm peeing, I hope I'm not peeing the bed. Lucky, I did not pee the bed. I didn't pee the bed. I woke up and I was like, oh God, I need to pee. So I got up and went to the toilet and peed. But I do remember, I've got one dream I remember from being a child was that I peed in the dream, and it felt so real because I was actually pissing the bed when I was much younger. And that feeling of sort of waking up whilst pissing yourself has always stuck with me, and so maybe that's why I woke up in this situation, because I didn't want that to happen, because obviously I would have to change the sheets instead of my mum. Because back when I did it as a kid, Mum got the job of cleaning the sheets, which she shouldn't have. I should have cleaned them. I should have at least should have contributed. It was a good life lesson of, hey, shit happens. Let's clean the sheets together. But anyway, that was my dream. I hope you have a good dream. And it was a very frustrating dream because yet again I woke up and I thought to myself, why doesn't anything good happen to me in my dreams? Why don't I have dreams of being famous or being successful or being in love or any of that kind of stuff? Instead, I have frustrating dreams where my friend steals something from me and I can't get into a gig, and yeah. Anyway, I'll probably think about that a little bit and try and work on it, because that's very strange. I had a dream the other day, and this is interesting that I'm talking about dreams, given that I don't dream that often. But I had a dream the other day about being friends with some podcasters, some reaction video creators, which just goes to show how weird the world is, that we have these friendships, or they feel like friendships with people, because we watch them do their thing on YouTube and what have you, and we then start dreaming about being friends with them. Very, very strange stuff sometimes, but we move on and we keep going. Let's talk about some news stuff going on in the world. Oh, pardon me. And one of those somewhat worrying things at the moment is these guys. Xi Jinping says world faces peace or war as Putin and Kim join him for military parade. So I mentioned this in the headlines because this is somewhat worrying. There is almost... whenever I was told or educated about World War II, there was always the Allies and the Axis of Evil. And obviously you put that name evil on it, and the way we were taught about World War II, those guys were the bad guys, they were the evil guys. And so you always learn that there are the bad guys and the good guys. And in World War II, because of especially what we learned afterwards with Nazi Germany, it was very easy to say that those guys are the bad guys. And what we're told about Xi Jinping and Kim Jong-il, is it Il or Un? Which one's this one? I cannot see it quickly here, but it doesn't really matter. Kim. Let's just call him Kim. Xi, Kim, and Put. What we've been told about these people is that they are bad guys. They treat their countries pretty badly. Now, if you look at these three in particular, all of them have been in power for a bit too long. If I remember correctly, please comment somewhere that I'm wrong if I am wrong, but I'm pretty sure Putin stepped down as president, but was like, I'm going to be special advice giver, and was still in charge for a few years, and then came back as president. Kim obviously was born into this position and is still in this position. And Xi as well, I believe, has been leader for a very, very long time. And the what we see of these countries is that they treat their people like shit. They have strange media and stuff about them. Like, it's always this weird positive propaganda that, well, except for Xi, I don't think we really hear much about Xi. But it's very, very strange. And even in this article from The Guardian, Putin and Kim, the authoritarian leaders of Russia and North Korea, so we're instantly being told that they are authoritarian leaders and stuff like that. Now, I don't disagree. I do believe those news articles that we're seeing. I do believe that these are bad world leaders. And it does worry me that President Trump is friends with these three guys to a certain degree, maybe not China as much, but he's gone and met with these other guys, and you wonder, in those meetings, did he say, hey guys, how do you do it? Tell me what you do. For instance, Trump's recently claimed that Putin told him, you got to get rid of mail-in voting. And that just suggests that it's another form of corruption, because in my opinion, as much as I don't always really like the fact that I have to vote, and then I'll get into trouble if I don't vote, the fact that everyone here in Australia has to vote is a real positive thing, because there is no voter suppression or any of that kind of stuff. There's no attempts to try and stop people from voting, because you can't do it. Everyone has to vote. So we don't have to worry about that, which is a really good thing. And you look at the three of them, like Kim doesn't even have voting, doesn't even worry about it. And as far as I'm aware, Xi just gets rid of people that he doesn't agree with, or that doesn't agree with the party. And that's the other crazy thing that's reminiscent of 1984, isn't it? That they refer to the party or the group as opposed to me, I am the leader. And it's very, very worrying. So it's a very interesting situation that we have here, where there are other countries that are all getting together, regardless of whether you do believe that they're good guys or bad guys. Because I always like to point out or think of conflicts of any kind, whether it's personal friendships or relationships, or whether it's countries or states or towns or whatever. Both sides normally think that they're the good guys. The axis of evil, at least, did Hitler think that he was the good guy? I don't know, maybe not. Maybe he didn't care about good or bad, and he just thought this is what we have to do, because he was at the time saying, "Well, this land should have been ours. You stole it from us. We're getting it back." Whether that was just made up propaganda or not, I don't know. But that's the same attitude that these guys have. Putin says that Ukraine is part of the USSR and part of Russia, so it should have always been. So we get it back. You stole it from us. Ping is trying to say that Taiwan should be part of China. They did that. They got Hong Kong back, and they came down pretty hard straight away on Hong Kong. And Kim, I'm not entirely sure exactly about the Korean War, but I'm pretty sure that Kim would say that South Korea should be theirs. So it's this weird land grab and this we are the best and we're going to be big and stuff, which again is worryingly echoed in Trump's talks about Canada and Greenland, because it's very, very strange to want to change these borders in that kind of way. It worries me. And I don't know enough. I really don't know enough about these things. I read into them a bit, but I'm not entirely sure what the end game for these guys is, because, as it says, Ping says the world faces peace or war. Yeah, dude, it faces war because you think that peace is Iron Fist. You think that peace is the party telling everyone what to do and everyone just shutting up and doing it. But that's not peace, at least from my perspective anyway. That's not peace. Peace is when people want to do things together and want to be nice to each other and all that kind of stuff. But who am I to tell? These guys aren't going to listen to me. Hey guys, I'm a idiot with 4 people watching my YouTube videos. Can you, and when I say 4, I'm being generous. Can you guys listen to me and just be nice to each other instead and just allow things to happen? But anyway, it's something to keep an eye on, I think, as these kind of things happen and meetings happen and interactions between these groups happen. The BRICS group of people, including some Brazil and some South American parties is very interesting. And where we Australians lie is going to be very interesting as well and worrying, because we, for the last almost 100 years, have relied on being friends with America. But it's very unsure as to where America stands. And so maybe we just have to rely on our Commonwealth with England and with Europe, because we like Europe as well. And then we've got our own issues and all that kind of stuff. It's very worrying. It's very worrying. I just hope that we can try to avoid it. But it's been 100 years since we've had a big scale, everybody in kind of war. Maybe it's time. Maybe humanity cannot survive without having some kind of destruction every now and again. Maybe it's a cycle. Somebody out there who's a historian has probably watched a bunch of things and seen a bunch of things and probably knows about cycles and stuff. And maybe they can tell us. But anyway, let's do something a bit more interesting. There is a group called the TDF. They're from America. They are fantastic. And I hope that they're independent enough that I can play this little clip of their song and no one will notice. They've got a song called Angus the Prize-Winning Hog. And here it is on the Daily Freakout. Let's see if this works. There we go.
Cranberry bog, determined to win a shiny ribbon at the fair. So Angus the prize-winning hog skipped 600 miles into Prague, where he sang and he pranced, and the people all danced to his tune. And they cheered, Angus the prize-winning hog, Angus the prize-winning hog, almightier than God, Angus the prize-winning hog. Angus is the leader, Angus is the brother, Angus is the father, Angus is the savior, Angus is the answer, always and forever. Angus will protect you, follow him forever. Angus the governor, Angus for president, Angus for chancellor, Angus for everything. The butcherman says he's not for the people. The butcherman says he's not for the people. The butcherman says that he's for the people, 'cause butcherman knows the best for the people. The butcherman understands all the people. The butcherman says the hog hates the people. The butcherman knows what's good for the people. But in this house, butcherman is out for blood. Run, Mr. Butcherman! Run, Mr. Butcherman! Tell your own to say, run, Mr. Butcherman! Angus will fight for the land!
Get that mic up a little bit louder. That is the TDF finishing up in the background. It's a fantastically ridiculous song and everything like that. I'm just trying to look up exactly where they're from. They're on a fall tour. I wish I could turn that down. I don't think I can turn that down. That's disappointing. We're going to hard end that. Oi, there we go. The TDF look like they're a little trio here. And they're a bunch of silly, wacky dudes. Mansfield, Ohio, they've got gigs. They've got a new song called a new album called Your Neighborhood, so check that out. They've got a bunch of stuff. This Angus the Prize-Winning Hog is not one of their newer songs. They've got a bunch of newer stuff, so obviously go check those out as well. They've got all the stuff. They've got an email list. They've got Patreon. They're on Patreon. They're on everything. They are a very serious band, including some things that they care about. I like this. On their website here, they've got 6 little charities and things that they care about. All very much stuff that I agree with. World Kitchen, supporting trans and non-binary people, gun control, help Ukraine, civil rights. So yeah, they seem like a damn good band all around, in my opinion. The TDF, TOXHARDS. Check them out on all the social medias. They've got it all. Fall 25 tour coming up. Detroit, Toronto, Brooklyn, Philadelphia. So if you're American, they're coming to a town near you. Obviously, they're not coming to Australia, though. That's unfortunate. And Due to the way the world is at the moment, I don't think that even though their vinyl seems to be at a very acceptable price, I doubt that I would be able to get it to come all the way out here at a decent price, because the shipping is absolutely terrible these days. But I'm going to look into that, because I wouldn't mind supporting them, and I like buying vinyl as a way to support local or smaller acts. In fact, I've got a record on its way from the Trauma Boys, which I played, I think, the other day. So hopefully soon we'll have a little record review coming up with the Trauma Boys record. But for now, let's talk about something else. Very quickly, we're going to talk about, and I've done this in a slightly, let's see what happened. No, that's not the right button. That's the right button. So DeSantis to make Florida first state to end all vaccine mandates for schools. Now, there's a certain conundrum that I think the United States faces. They always talk about this, and I hate to be talking about the US again. I really got to find some more international headlines and things to talk about, don't I? An American band, well, I guess the last one was world politics, wasn't it? The idea of freedom. The Americans love this idea of freedom, and we're free and we can do whatever we want. And I like that. That's great. I'm all for that. 100%. I think you should be as free as possible to do whatever you want as possible, and the limit should be when it affects other people negatively. I think that's a pretty good way of looking at things. But there's certain things where it's like, no. Herd immunity is really important. We should, as a group, and when I say we, I mean the people in my country, the people in my state, the people in your country, the people in your state, and humans in general, we should work on being as healthy as possible, etc., etc. And we should use the most common most relevant, tested, up-to-date news in order to do that. Sorry, news? Science is what I meant, science. And we hear about science through the news. But the strange part of America at the moment is there are these people who believe that their freedom should be allowed regardless, and it's happening here in Australia, it's probably happening in every part of the world, but their freedom should be allowed regardless of whether they understand current science, current knowledge, and all that kind of stuff. And this is where this is kind of interesting, because vaccine mandates say that all of you people have... Doctor, one of my... Oi! Dogs are just having a... The dogs are just having a bit of a bark out there, and it's probably because there's a dog walking past, as you know. Now, I'm not doing anything dodgy here. I've got a dog... Come here, oi, oi, come here. This little girl... Hello. Say hello to the people that aren't watching. No one's watching. Your little heart's going crazy. What are you doing? Just be calm. Just calm down. It's okay. Gonna have some breakfast soon, and then we'll go for a walk. Anyway, hello. Professional is what this is. Doctor, shush. There's a certain amount of... Most people are stupid. And I certainly don't think of myself as stupid, but I don't think of myself as being terribly knowledgeable or completely informed on everything. And so I have to say, hey, these doctors that have studied medicine, studied vaccines, understand vaccines even better than I do, I'm going to take your word for it. And we just have... And shit happens. Things go wrong. But you just have to take their word for it. For instance, when COVID happened, I had no problem with taking the vaccine because I just had to take their word for it, because I believed that they had more knowledge and more experience with these things, and they knew better than me. I don't know how my car works, but I trust that my mechanic has the same kind of advanced knowledge that a doctor has, but regarding cars. So I go with whatever they say. And the dog's still barking. And so this idea that the Florida Surgeon General equates vaccine mandates to slavery while announcing new policy push, now that's ridiculous. Especially as I believe that this is a African-American man. The idea that you're forcing people to take a medicine or to preemptive medicine so that they don't get sick and die doesn't seem to equate to slavery, in my opinion. But I do understand to a certain degree that they're being told what to do. They're saying, hey, you have to do this. And I don't like that personally. And that's where, and then what do you do if you can't convince someone that they have to do, or that they should do, what you're suggesting that they should do? Who knows? But luckily for me, I don't live in Florida, and I'm not going to schools, but it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I do believe that there have been examples where vaccines have either not been used or have been reduced, and it's had negative consequences. If only people studied history a bit more, which is that age-old thing of if you don't study history, you're bound to doomed to repeat it. We will see. We will see what happens. And I'm of an age where I'm able to observe these things in a fairly educated way. I'm not a teenager who's missing things. And so hopefully I will see the results. I will see what happens when we don't mandate vaccines to schools and children and stuff. It'll be very interesting to see what happens in Florida and in Florida schools. And it'll be very interesting to see what happens in all of America in this kind of anti-vaccine, anti-medicine kind of world. One last thing I want to bring up today is JBL announced its largest ever battery-powered party speaker. No, thank you. As somebody in the Reddit comments when I was looking at this article said, coming to a campground near you. This is very worrying for those of us who like to have some peace and quiet. It used to be that you used to have to put a lot of effort into getting a massive speaker somewhere that could annoy people. But yeah, that's just problematic and worrying. That said, though, if I was putting on a show at a small, for instance, I work at a burger joint, and I've joked about how we need to have a night where we have DJs. This kind of speaker would probably be perfect because it is battery powered. It is portable and useful. So maybe it has its places and its uses, and a lot of people just don't know where those uses are. So if you're thinking of getting one of those and taking it to a secluded campsite in the bush, please don't. If you want it for your house party, yeah, not that terrible. But everyone likes to go out to the woods and play their music loud and drink out of the back of a ute, don't they? Or a truck for the Americans. I think that's a standard movie trope and a standard part of youth sometimes, isn't it? Anyway, that is the Daily Freakout for Thursday, the 4th of September. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you've tuned in all the way to now, do that liking and subscribing stuff because I'm trying to get to 100 followers. All these other channels are like, oh, I'm trying to hit 1 million, guys. Come on, let's do it. Let's go. I'd like 100. Just 100. That'd be great. I lost one the other week. Went from 28 to 27. You got to start somewhere. I don't know why I find it so funny, but it is funny because it's somewhat pathetic being the kind of person that's like, hey guys, I'm in my lounge room and I'm telling you about the world because I know stuff when I don't know stuff and no one's listening. So thank you for tuning in if you've made it this far. No, not many people do. You're a very unique individual if you've made it this far, and you're in a very special club. I should do something. I'm going to do something. I'm going to do a giveaway, and it's going to be at the very last part of the episode. So tomorrow, tune in all the way to the very end for a giveaway of something, probably a bad vinyl record, or a good vinyl record and a bad vinyl record. We'll see. Anyway, thank you very much for tuning in. This is the Daily Freakout. My name is Bobby, and I'd like you to listen to the whole thing, and we'll, something's going on with that. That doesn't sound good at all. Bye.